well, building our community so there's a place for them to be is very important. A place for people to come and kind of maintain that community becomes very important. So that you are building an institution of sorts, and while there are disadvantages to that, there are also huge advantages, I think, to having that kind of persistent presence, the continuing presence.
March 2003, the war started, and I was with Fran and Nancy and others when we were arrested at Pat Toomey's office.
One of the wonderful actions was the marvelous full-scale photographs of the servicemen and women who had died, and we put them on sticks and big posters with many, and walked, especially in the south side of Easton, which was a place where many persons were leaving from and so on, and got into conversations with householders as we walked along. I mean, that was a worthwhile activity.
Well, all of the buttons and all of the literature, you know, felt very good. You know, all of these looked like, as some Christians say, outward signs of an inward grace.
Oh, great. I'm actually in Bucks County, which is a little funny too, because a lot of what we do, you know, is working on congressional issues, and Dent is here, and Murphy's our person.
Right. And Murphy's a relatively good guy, right? I mean,
well,
he was a veteran. And
he's a Democrat, and his voting record is significantly better than Dent's.
Right.
But, you know, a lot of the issues we've gone to him about, he's not on the high list of swing, possible swing voters even in that kind of situation.
So this is,
Logs are sitting in the parking lot.
LEPOCO was founded in the middle of the Vietnam War in 1965. I wasn't even living in this area at that time, but my understanding is that many, there were some groups before that, some peace organizations that were active, a Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and of course the Quakers, I think, were doing different things. But there was this founding meeting at Kirkridge Retreat Center up on the mountain, and that's how we came up with Lehigh-Pocono Committee of Concern, because there were people from some Stroudsburg area, and then a lot of people from the Lehigh Valley. And then when the staff thing opened at LEPOCO, I decided that that's what I really wanted to do, and been doing it ever since 1974.
I started looking into the philosophy of Gandhi and nonviolent action and non-cooperation, things like that. And less than a year later, I ran into LEPOCO at this music festival that they had an information table set up at. And this was all the run-up to the current Iraq war, which I felt was wrong. And so I got more involved, and they had a film series, and that also interested me, so I started attending that, and now I kind of run that.
If I'm not stable inside, I can't be very effective outside. And I think as I get older, it becomes even more so. I'm less aggravated by some of the letters to the editor and so forth, and some of the hate mongering and so forth, and thinking, oh, this too will pass if we can just, and not just in a simplistic love everybody, but the fact is that there is enough love and attention to go around, and people just haven't found their way to it.
Something that I try to remember is Gandhi's advice to, I think he said, be the peace that you want to see established.
A big concern is having people who are active, what to do with their anger, because they have a lot of anger, you know, and their anger, and helping us all realize that that's not going to probably get us many converts if we're kind of splattering our anger around. But certainly when we hold vigils, which people have held dozens, hundreds of vigils locally around the time of these last wars we've been part of. And it's not happening so much now, but there are many times when people yell not very nice things at you.
On Thursdays, we stand out there for about an hour, peace vigil. It's nice. I mean, it's a chance to get to see some people that you don't always see. You see them at the vigil and you get to talk to them. You're taking a public stand, which to me now, having done this for so long, doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but when I talk to some people who aren't involved in things like this, to stand out there for an hour sometimes seems like a great thing, and to get called, you know, hippies and whatnot.
It does. I guess you could say the level of enthusiasm fluctuates. The relation of hope to discouragement fluctuates.
But there's a lot of support too, you know, thumbs up, and that's the neat thing, and that's when you take the long arc, the long view of things, and you look at that, when the war first started, lots of middle fingers and thumbs down, that sort of thing. The laying on of the horn, the sustained blast, which is the negative. I learned that's the negative. The toot 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 is the positive, and there are more toot toot toots now, you know, as the time has gone on. And then the one finger salute is turned into a two finger salute, and that's so that's good.
Yes, I've been arrested and put in Allentown, and with the 11 of us, we sat in the previous congressman's office not too many years ago.
In that 4 or 5 hours that we were in Pat Toomey's office, the office manager, Maury Pulley is his name, he was the person that we talked to most, and he went through a wide range of emotions. He was confused. Why don't you leave? I told you he's not coming. Just go. We've heard your complaint, and we'll tell the congressperson when he gets in. Confusion to anger to bargaining with us to humor, and the bathroom's back here, and, you know, appeasement, and there's the water cooler, but at 5 o'clock you're going to have to leave. And that was fascinating. And then at 5 o'clock, when our office closed, we didn't leave, and the police came and arrested us. And as we were being led out, I swear I saw a tear in his eye.
Well, it was kind of charming in that Edith Scott and I were put in the back of the police car, and Edith's concern was, do we have to tell our age? They had us with ankle irons around our little chains to the floor. Yeah.
The presence of LEPOCO, even, I think is something constructive, and Gandhi claimed that 80% of the peacemakers' work ought to be constructive. 20% can be confrontational.
We have a peace camp each summer, which we've been doing since 1990, and so it's been a way to connect with children. They love it, and the parents and the teenagers who are involved love it, and it's a small effort in a lot of ways, but it's a huge effort that, because it only lasts a week, it's 3 hours for 5 days each year, but at the same time, that kind of historical pattern of building that each summer has really been quite powerful, I think, in the community.
And you can never judge ahead of time what activity will click or not, and you just keep on doing it.
It didn't stop the war, but I think maybe that night he went home and thought about things a little bit deeper than maybe he was. If people are willing to go to that length to make a point, take a stand or a sit, as it was, I don't know. So, and in every other arrest since then, there's been moments that have validated the whole thing for me.
Hello, LEPOCO? Hello? A little bit. I'm in the middle of it. We're doing probably in a half an hour or so. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.